going, guys?
Bad? Pretty good. How are you, John?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Mustn't grumble. No bugger listens, even if you do.
It's a shame.
I know. I've given up now. Anyway, I've been playing this game for a while. I'm hit 50, and been 50 for a while. Blah blah blah. But the one thing I haven't got the hang of is all these duty officer things.
Well, you know the duty officers are pretty cool. They let you complete missions without actually having to do anything, except for assign your crew to complete them. If you go to your mini-map, there's a little icon there with 3 squirrels on it. And if you hit the squirrels...
Squirrels, really?
The squirrels, yeah. You hit the squirrels, a page should open up. On that page, you've got basically an overview of all of your duty officers and what they're up to and what's going on.
Oh yeah. Find
assignments. You've got an assignment summary at the top.
Yeah.
On the assignment summary, you've got how many assignments you've got available, how many are underway, and how many are complete. Bearing in mind you can't start an assignment until you've cleared out all the complete ones. So if you've used up all your slots, you're buggered until you've collected all your rewards and you then start some more again.
Right, you say completed all your slots. What do you mean by that?
Well, you get a standard lot of 20 slots, and each one of those is a slot for a new mission. So you can have 20 missions running at the same time, which is much better than the normal quest chain, if you ask me.
Right, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So I can get rewards without actually having to do anything.
Oh
awesome.
Yeah. You get dilithium, energy credits, items, all kinds of stuff. In fact, some of the best gear in the game comes from duty officer missions. You can get Mark 12, very rare consoles out of this thing.
Cool.
So, yeah, it's the one thing you need by the time you're done. A lot of these consoles go for a lot on the exchange, so it's really the best way of getting them. If you're on the overview screen, you've got a summary for all your duty officers, so it lets you know how many you've got and how many you can have.
Yeah, at the moment I've got 20 open slots.
And it lets you know how many are on assignment and how many you've got assigned to your active space and active ground slots.
Cool.
Active space and active ground slots give you a boost when you're fighting on the ground or you're fighting in space. These boosts
right.
You won't get anywhere else, just from this. So it's worth having them and making sure you've got the best ones in there you can.
Oh, so what you're telling me is that dependent on what duty officer I select and activate for either space or ground will give me a specific bonus?
Yeah. And you won't get these bonuses from anywhere else. So if you think you're losing out in the PvPs or the STFs, you're not getting the first place, if you've got the top guys right for your ship in those slots, that may make the difference between you being number 2 and number 1.
Cool. I never knew any of this. God, I'm such a plum.
Well, it's a complicated game.
Okay, so that's...
Well, that's most of the overview. The only thing I didn't mention was the commendation advancement.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question, what all the bars were going to be for.
Yeah, you notice you've got loads of rank 0s in there. Basically, all of those go up to rank 4, and every time you go up a rank, you get a new bonus. And all these various headings, trade, colonial, medical, espionage, they're all various mission types within the duty officer system. So there's a lot there to pick through.
So are these the duty officer mission chains that people keep mentioning, or is this something different?
It includes the duty officer mission change, but this is something slightly different. The duty officer mission chains are kind of covered as part of the missions, so I think Russell will probably better be able to explain that to you. But this part just covers how experienced you are in each of these various categories, and each category has its own bonuses. If you look at the diplomatic category, if you click on that, you'll see that it pops out, and under each rank you've got various little awards, and you can get more accolades, which are always good, and more titles to pick from on your character screen. But on top of this, you also get unlocks for various duty officers, and you also get unlocks for transwarp abilities. So the best way of getting around is by completing those diplomatic missions.
Cool. So basically, it's like the my level experience, but for specific regions, for specific expertise. Sorry.
Yeah, for specific
Duty officer
types
expertise.
of duty officer missions, each falls in its own expertise zone, and each one of those unlocks a different set of abilities when you get to rank 4. And each rank unlocks more stuff than the last rank, so there's quite a lot there to get.
Definitely worth concentrating on duty officers.
Yep. And even when you've maxed them out, if you carry on getting experience, every 10,000 experience, there's another mission where you can hand in 10,000 experience and get I think it's about 100 fleet marks if you get a critical success, or 75 if you just get a normal success on it. So that's a pretty easy way of getting a lot of fleet marks for your fleet, especially now that you can't get them off the repeatable foundry missions.
Definitely worth looking into.
Definitely.
Cool.
I think Russell will explain the rest of the system to you, and maybe help him out after he's got bored of talking.
Yeah, because I'm a bit thick when it comes to these sort of things.
I guess you didn't cover the what duty officers for what mission. So
No.
every mission has a different amount of duty officers, different types. Did that not get covered?
No,
No.
unfortunately.
Alright. John, if you go on your assignments tab,
Yeah.
you got the list of assignments for your current map. Every single time you change to a different map, these change. So at the moment you can see your current list. If you go to, say, outside the Sol system, these will change to a different selection of missions. So every time you get a different mission, you get different rewards, different development. At the moment on my screen I've only got development and science and diplomatic. If I go to a different zone I might get some trade, colonial. This all goes benefiting to your accommodation advancement. So if I completed all these assignments on my current map, I would be getting nothing going into my medical or my trade, which isn't good.
Right.
So I want to travel around while I'm doing all these.
Yeah, it's best to go touring when you're doing missions.
Not to mention some missions require more than duty officers to complete them.
Yeah, I was going to say I've got like 4 that have got little red symbols in the corner.
Yeah, if you highlight over that red symbol, it tells you what you're missing. For example, the one I'm hovering over right now, if I had no EC credits, I could not start this mission because it requires 1000 EC credits to start it. This
Right.
goes for a load of different projects. They all require different things. Some require latinum, some require dilithium, some require special reward items. You can collect these also via duty officer missions. You can also, in your inventory, if you pick up stuff that you don't recognise, you can always go to your duty officers page, and in cargo bay you can see exactly what's used for duty officer missions that's in your inventory. So it's always best to hold on to that stuff because you might need it later on.
And does the list on this cargo bay show your entire inventory, or is it just mission?
Just mission-based
Mission-dependent.
items. So if you pick up an item in your inventory and you don't know what it's used for, it's always best to check it on the cargo bay to see if it's used for duty officer missions.
Oh, I've just been replicating most of that.
No,
Oops.
some of it's quite useful. Each assignment requires a certain type of duty officer, and that duty officer may also have to require certain types of traits. So if you go on one of your assignments, like for example I've got one here, assign a crew member, I need a warp core engineer. To get a success, he has to be a warp core engineer. So if I go on plan assignment, I have 2 engineers. One is a common and one is a rare. These both of these will give me a success because they're both warp core engineers. But I can increase the success of completing this mission by having a critical success trait. So below, this duty officer says congenial, and that's a critical success for my mission. So if I stick him on, it gives me an 80% success and a 16% critical success of completing it. This is also increased by the rarity of your duty officer.
Right. When you say rarity, I've noticed I've got like whites and greens.
These are the classes. So uncommon are whites. These are your bottom end of duty officers.
Right. So the cheapest and nastiest.
Yeah. Commons are greens. They're your more average duty officers. Blues are your rares. They are probably the ones you want to aim for to have the most of. They're top of your duty officers in terms of what you can collect. Then you have very rare, which is your top end of the whole spectrum of duty officers. They provide the most benefit of critical success, and they normally have better traits than most other duty officers.
Right. Okay. So basically, purples are better.
Yeah, purple's better.
So what's the little like 5% and the little numbers? I haven't got it on the white ones, but I've got it on like the greens and the blues.
The 5% and the 10% and the, I think it's 20% you get off the very rare ones happen to increase your reward in terms of the diplomatic experience and science experience. So if you've got 4 or 5 of those guys with 10%, you'll get 50% extra reward from that mission. So say it's got 100 development reward, it'll now have 150 development reward, which means your experience tabs fill up quicker by having rarer officers complete them.
Alright. So even though they cost like the earth, it's always better to have purples. The higher the percentage, the higher the bar goes up for the experience.
Yep, and as I said earlier, the more experience you've got, the easier it is to farm those fleet marks.
Guess I'm going on a shopping spree for purples then. Nah.
I'd be careful if you do. It's going to cost you an arm and a leg.
Damn it.
Might want to head over to that. Might need to describe where you actually get the duty officers from.
Oh yeah, I will follow you. Where are you going? There you are.
Right, so there's a few guys around the academy on Earth, and there's a few guys around the academy on the Earth, and there's a equivalent academy on the Klingon side, and I believe there will be on the Romulan side as well. And there are special duty officer guys. This is the Vulcan personnel officer, and if you talk to the Vulcan personnel officer, they've got a couple of missions on them.
Yep.
They've got a cultural exchange.
Yep. And
if you hit that, you'll get a duty officer assignment. And on that duty officer assignment, when you complete it, if you have a look and hover your mouse over the special duty officer icon, which is the question mark next to your dilithium, you will find that it gives you a special duty officer, common, and it's a character bind on pickup. If you complete this assignment, which is going to take 20 hours, you will get more duty officers.
Oh right, so you don't have to necessarily buy them, you can just be given them.
Nope, you don't have to buy them. Now, Vulcan guy isn't the only one. There's Andorian and Tellarite, and there's also another guy, if you follow me.
Oh, give me a second. Computer's being a bit slow, a bit like me. There you are. Haha!
If you come along to this building here on the end, the Klingons also have the same thing. Well, the same equivalent characters. Although, of course, they don't have Andorians and Tellarites. They've got Gorn and Orion. Always good to have those Orion slave girls. They've got another personnel officer who gives them...
something else.
That gives them...
Oops.
What do they give them? They've got another personnel officer who gives them the various types of duty officer, as in tactical officers and engineering officers and so on and so forth.
Right.
Once you've got all the white ones, they also have missions to upgrade them to greens, to blues, and to purples. So you can get all your very rare guys just by going through these guys. You don't have to buy any off the exchange.
Oh, I didn't know that. Awesome.
Under exchange offers, what does exchange do?
If you exchange the officers, you can... If you exchange the officers, you can take a purple, very rare duty officer, and exchange him for several lower tier rare officers. And you can repeat this process until you get common officers, which is a bit of a waste if you ask me, but every now and again you'll end up with 15 very rare bartenders and they're not a lot of good for anything. So the best way of getting those into something useful is to trade them in or sell them on the exchange and either buy new ones or get rare duty officers instead, which can be quite helpful because you can end up with lots of rare duty officers very quickly.
So you're telling me that white bartenders can't even pour a decent martini?
The white bartenders are useless.
God damn it. Flush them out the nearest airlock.
Well, that's one way of doing it. Let's do it my way, shall we? If you come with me, John.
Hang on, let me close all these windows. Where's he gone? Ah, there he is. No. Aha.
We're going to the exchange.
Okay. Follow that man. Who are you? Get out of the way.
Yeah. Where's
man
the
on a
exchange?
mission. This way. What do you mean, where's the exchange? Even I know where the exchange is. Where is it again?
Other people might not.
It might be on a space dock, it might be in the academy.
I'm going to the academy.
Pretty sure they've got exchanges all over the solar system. Just visit the nearest starbase.
Yeah, pretty much. Ugh. Don't like their carpets. I mean, red carpets, really?
There's a queue. What?
On the exchange, if you go down the item type, you can go all the way down to duty officers, and there's tactical, security, engineering, operations, science, and all your civilian ones. On there, you can click whichever one you require, and go check the rarity. So say I want a rare shield distribution officer, or tactical. I can click search, and we can spend our lovely deserved EC on new officers. It's normally a lot quicker, and actually more time efficient way of getting rare and very rare duty officers, but
that depends on you having a lot of money though.
yeah, it will cost you an arm and leg for very rare. For example, if I do very rare con officer, it's gonna cost me for a decent one about 3 mil.
Wow.
God.
Let me just go and sell my several starships and I might just be able to afford it.
Here we go. Tactical, team and buff. These are the ones we want, not evasive maneuvers. Yeah, 4 mil.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not going to happen anytime soon.
But it's good to be able to pick up if you want just one type of duty officer of a certain type. You could just go buy it from the exchange. Another way, if you are willing to spend money on this game, you can visit the Z store.
Z store?
Z store. The gold little item on the gold store button on your map.
Oh, I see it, yeah.
Yeah. If you go down to duty officers, you can pick up officer packs for real money. But who wants to do that? It's a free game.
Right, so what you're saying is there's 3 ways of getting duty officers. You can either buy them from the exchange, or you can exchange like white ones for green ones and green ones for blue ones.
Yep.
Or
there's actually 4 ways.
Yep, there's another way, yeah.
Or you can transfer your real money into Zen and buy them if you're loaded, which I'm not.
Another way you can do it is you can get duty officer packs from lockboxes.
Lockboxes?
So you should be so lucky.
If you can get either lockbox key off the Z store under items, there are master keys.
Yep.
That you can buy via Zen, and you can also buy keys on the exchange under the keys tab for EC. Bear in mind they're 1.5 mil each.
Ouch.
But
that's today's prices. Tomorrow is going to be 2
you
million.
can pick up duty officers in lockboxes. If you don't feel like doing that way, you can go down to reward packs on the exchange
Okay.
and hit search. It will come up with all the equipment that you can get via lockboxes. But if you type in, for example, say we type in Gamma, Gamma, in the search bar under reward packs.
Let me find reward packs. Reward packs. There we go.
Yeah. Type in Gamma.
Yep.
You'll come up with Gamma Quadrant Duty Officer mini packs. These are the packs you get in the Dominion lockboxes. And you can buy these for EC, and it will give you a selection of duty officers. It will give you some greens, some whites, and if you're lucky, maybe a rare or very rare. But very lucky.
Whatever you get is the luck of the draw. God damn it, can't speak.
Yeah. And that pretty much sums up duty officers to a huge degree.
Cool. So there's many different ways of getting them.
Many different ways of getting duty.
Now, you mentioned about going to the Z store and buying them with this thing called Zen. Do you have to purchase Zen with real money, or is there another way of getting it? Because I'm a bit of a...
Funny you mentioned that. There is definitely another way of getting Zen without going to the Z store.
Right.
If you either hit your inventory, or the little down arrow, which says more, if I hover over it, and you either go to assets on your inventory screen, you'll see a exchange button, and on the down arrow there's a dilithium exchange. If you head to that, you'll be able to pick up some Zen for your hard-earned dilithium. Bear in mind this is a refined dilithium, which you've only got 8,000 a day currently, so you're going to have to save up a lot to get a few of those keys.
Yes, considering, if I'm reading this right, it's 127 dilithium for 1 Zen.
Yep, it's going to cost you an arm and a leg.
Yeah, that's the most effective way that I can think of.
You'll need 15,000 dilithium to get 1 key.
Wow. Yeah.
And bear in mind, you've got the right duty officer for the right mission. If you get the wrong duty officer, not only will he not be able to assign him for that mission, necessarily, although a lot of them you can assign to any mission, you'll also increase the chance of having a disaster and possibly losing your duty officer, or getting them injured and put in the sick bay, which kind of locks them out for a couple of days. And
Dave, stop being a plum. Let's end the video. You're running around like a plum. Let's end the video like a plum.
But you said that each, say, sector space gives you separate missions.
Yep.
So if there's only an exchange in each space dock, how am I supposed to purchase relevant duty officers for relevant missions if I have to be in that sector to know what the mission requires?
Well, you can go onto the wiki. If you remember the name of the mission, you can type that in the wiki and it will bring up all the traits that you require, or you can write them down and kind of take them to the exchange and then have a search through all those duty officers. Bear in mind, the ones you get off the exchange, they're not just Federation duty officers. Some of them are Klingon, and if you get Klingon officers and you're a Federation character, you will not be able to use them, with the exception of some very rare ones where you can have a Federation officer as a Klingon, or a Klingon officer as a Federation.
Right. So basically write it down or look on the website and...
Yep, write down the mission or write down the requirements, pick the right guy for the right job. Once you've got all of them for that mission, every time you complete that mission, you'll have a good chance of getting a critical success and a much increased reward. If you look at a mission and it's got something like 5 dilithium reward, you get a critical success on that, and that turns into 125. Now that makes dilithium farming a lot easier.
But that's where I've been going wrong.
Yep,
I've just been
relying
on random. I've just been relying on random duty officers. I haven't actually been going out and buying specific ones.
Well, you can buy specific ones, or if you're really smart and you complete the Tellarite missions and so on, you can basically save all the really good ones and sell the ones that aren't quite what you want on the exchange and buy some more duty officers that you do want.
And get your money back in the process.
Oh yeah.
Woohoo! Cool.
Alright.
Is that a good summary for you?
Yeah, I think that's given me all I needed to know.
Alright.
Can't think of
Three
anything
Plums
else.
out.